You guys don't know. I do wear glasses. I do wear contacts when I film. I went on vacation and I happened to have ran out of my last pair of contacts and I was like scrambling around as soon as I got home to like figure out like how I can get them as quickly as possible. And honestly,
So once again, I'm talking about transgender issue. This is male to female transgender. For some reason, I was thinking a lot why the opposite women, FTM, women that transition to being men, really irritate me. And I'll tell you why. To be a woman in society is such a struggle, is such a war. Uh, and I think women that transition to be men are part of it makes me angry as a woman that you first of all given up the right to become a parent. That's always weird for me. The second issue is why would you not want to be a woman? Yeah, why would you want to be a woman? That's a question. If you had a choice to be a woman or a man, of course you'd want to be a man in a world that's ruled by men. Um, so when a man, I don't know if chooses or they feel like they must be women, they must live out their feminine side. They must be women when they actually choose to be women. For me, it's like amazing. On the other hand, I have a problem with all the makeup issue. Like to be a woman is not about makeup. I hardly wear makeup. It doesn't define my identity as a woman. And I'm thinking, what does define my identity as a woman? I'm so much more than just a gender, but I think the makeup, the dress, the high heels, that doesn't make you a woman. What makes you a woman is sensitivity, I find, and transgenders I've known, there's this extra sensitivity. One of my friends that I've lost touch with, she had children before she transitioned into being a woman. And she's such an amazing mother. I remember watching her walk her daughter to school, and she experienced so many difficulties. And yet, she's such an amazingly sensitive, smart woman. And definitely, I would say she's a woman, not because of all the surgery she's had, and she had a lot of it, not because she's so beautiful, and she is, not because she looks more feminine than me, because she has these small hands. Um, like by nature, she's very small. And I think to choose to be a woman in a world where it's such a struggle to be a woman is amazing. And I really feel for them. They're amazing people. But the opposite, men, a woman that choose to be men, for me, it's sort of, I don't know, I find it offensive for women. Like you cut off your breast, you cut off all your feminine body parts, and then you take testosterone and you grow facial hair, and you just want to be a guy. You want to be a guy. You want to be a man. Maybe it's because I went through a phase where I wanted also to be a boy, like, because I realized boys have more fun, girls are mean. I don't know, when I was a little girl, I didn't really have a lot in common with girls. But then I realized that it doesn't mean anything. And maybe it's because I also was never attracted to women. So, but now there's also these transgenders that are attracted to men. So I don't know. I just would never ever want to change my body. So I don't really understand why a woman would just want to take testosterone and harm her body and undergo surgery, which is life threatening. Every surgery you undergo is life threatening. And you know what? If you look at animals, we wouldn't want. There was like this Australian comedian, and he had a joke where the dog is having the dog is feeling like a male, and she's having gender reassignment operation. So can you imagine a dog having a gender reassignment operation? You can't, because that would be abusive. So why isn't it abusive for women to have these horrible operations? Horrible is the only word I can say, because you can't really. I think it's harder to be a male than a female, um, because the whole mechanism of the male reproductive organ is just so much more complex. I can just imagine the urinary. track problems a woman will have when she's transitioning to be a male. And I just don't understand how doctors who went to medical school use their experience and their all this knowledge in order to do this kind of operations, thinking that you're saving people's lives. I don't think so. What, you're going to kill yourself if you don't have a fake penis? It doesn't make sense to me. It looks like they're distracting from their mental illness issues, and instead of self harm, they're doing another form of self harm that is now seen as okay by society. But this comedian who said, "Oh, the dog is having a gender reassignment operation," it just shows you how ridiculous this whole thing is. Now, for men transitioning to be women, I don't see it as ridiculous because I do sense that men that have a feminine side can be wonderful women. They can be better women than women because they've seen both sides and they're more gentle, loving. Whereas a woman that wants to be a man, like this one transgender, so he or she is cursing, is cuss words, and choosing a really like ugly name and saying, "Oh, I'm a guy. I'm one of the guys wearing a baseball cap," and she really passes for a man, no doubt. But that's like a deception. Can you imagine you're dating a guy and then it turns out he's not really a guy? I would find it really scary not knowing and then finding out that this is not a real man. And I think definitely you can't fake it. A woman who transitions to be a man, you really can't fake. Because at one point it's very clear. I can't even imagine that you can actually pass as a man once you're involved with someone intimately. Whereas the other way, I can imagine that is possible. Men don't really look at women so much. Um, so yeah, it took me time to think why I really don't like all these videos of women that transition to be men. It's the deception factor as well. And then they have girlfriends and they say, "Oh, we're not lesbians." Well, if you have a choice to be with a person who is a male and then you choose to be with a person who underwent operations to try to look like a man and takes hormones but can't really, it's not about having children because there are men who can't have children, but it's about this whole gender confusion issue. It seems to be, for me, it seems to me mental illness for sure. Because if you don't really know which gender you are, it seems to be quite complicated. Like when I look at children, you can be a tomboy, you can be a feminine boy. Um, Homosexuality, I can understand because although I don't really understand it because I don't have these feelings, so I don't want to know what it's like to want to be with the same gender. I definitely I do find it odd, but I feel like it's something that is happening to a lot of people. I know with animals, sometimes animals can be drawn to their own genders, what have I've witnessed. Um, and I see that dogs are really different. Like my dogs are very heterosexual. They love men. They adore men. They adore males. They do not like females at all. They're very extreme heterosexual. Whereas some dogs, they can really prefer their genders. I could see that. And I could see that with human beings. Um, on the other hand, whether I approve or not, it doesn't mean that people don't have a right to pursue what makes them happy. It's just that when they put YouTube videos and they try to convince people, you have to remember that these people go out in the world appearing like another gender. And it is deceptive because people who date them, they should really tell them, "Hey, I'm a transgender." They should say from the first word, if you're in a romantic situation, let people know that you are transgender, because I do think it's important. Then go ahead, whatever, whatever gets you through the night. I don't really care, but it's also the fact that public health systems, like in Canada or I don't know in Israel, but in certain countries, US, it's not a problem because they don't have a public health system, but it's just these doctors giving their time to doing all these operations when they could be saving lives um, of so many people who can't afford to undergo operations. So for me, it is a little bit a rich people kind of hobby. Because let's say you don't have money, let's say your country doesn't pay for the operations. So what are you going to do? You're going to kill yourself if you can't be a transgender? No, you're not. You're going to just, a woman can dress like a man. She can be like a, dress like a man, or a man can look like a woman, and, you can do it without an operation. And guess what? You can live. So I'm watching this transgender and I'm thinking, also, where do they have the money to be spend so much time in a hospital not working? Somebody's sponsoring them, whether it's the YouTube channels, whether the families. I can't even imagine. I'm telling my mom, "Hey, I want to transition. Can you pay for the operations?" I was happy she paid partly for my university. So I don't know. Having all said that, humanity is such a crazy, diverse world that I think it would be wrong to say, hey, I don't understand this, so therefore it's wrong. But I do have to express my feelings is that I don't feel comfortable with women that want to be men and actually say, I'm a man. I don't feel comfortable, but I feel that it is absolutely wrong to use the Bible against them, to use religion against them. I understand biology being against them, but the Bible, really? It seems really strange to me. Um, Especially Christianity. I never got the idea that Christians are, Jesus was supposed to be for love, and then these Christians are for hate. They hate so many things in society, so many things, whether it's other religions, whether it's homosexuals, whether it's, I don't know, so many things. So I really have a problem with religious people who speak against transgenders and homosexuality. I think we should embrace them, but I'm telling you, I do have a problem with women seeking to be men. Maybe it's because I felt it as a young person, especially around puberty time. Oh God, I would have loved to be a man. It just seemed to me that men have it so much easier. They are the leaders of society. They have leading positions in religion. They have, so to actually be a strong woman, to be a feminist, to be pro women is just such an amazingly brave choice, because the world is so not pro women. So I feel always that the way I guess some religious people feel about people that don't want to be religious anymore. I feel that when a woman doesn't want to be a woman anymore, she says, I feel like a man. I know you can acknowledge these feelings, but you don't have to go all the way with them, because I truly don't think that would actually make a person happier not to have a reproductive ability. Um, and also, I think it would be much wiser and braver to actually contain the feelings, say, well, I'm a woman, but I have masculine tendencies. I have this behaviors that are perceived in society as masculine. Like, for instance, I definitely am quite outspoken, not shy, and I know for sure that that's been seen as very negative by my mother. May she rest in peace. She really didn't want to be unspoken. She said that, and also I had an uncle that my family really did not look favorably on my tendency to be outspoken, to say what I think. They didn't encourage me to be that kind of a person. And when you look at the world today, um, I'm really sad that there are not so many women in leading positions. And I really wish that women with a strong masculine tendency would be courageous enough to remain within their female identity and to fight for women to have better positions in society. So every time a woman with masculine tendency tends to choose to be a man and go to the other side where men are repressing women. I'm not saying all men, but whether it's religion, whether it's politics, men are not letting enough women in. Like if they let a woman in, it's like you're supporting a minority, and women are not a minority. So these are my thoughts about gender. And talking to you made it more clear for me why I have this negative feelings about transgenders that are female to male. It's because I feel that women have to unite and form a strong alliance to allowing more women into positions of power. So I work with small children and I feel that I can empower women. When I see little girls, I can empower them. I can empower boys to show their female side. I can empower girls to show their masculine side. And I think this is where it starts. It starts very young children at that age to empower them to not be a stereotypical gender, to allow girls to play with cars, to allow boys to play with dolls, to allow boys to do art and to be creative, and you don't have to be necessarily live out this masculine stereotype. Having said that, I'm not going to go and tell a little boy not to play aggressive games. I like to have a peaceful surrounding for the children, but I definitely am not going to repress their tendency to feel this is the way boys are. But I would like to allow them to feel their identity as above genders. And when we do yoga, I like to think that boys who are doing yoga get in touch with their emotions, and therefore they're not going to be these repressed males that can't express their emotions. And I'd like to encourage boys to express their emotions, because I think boys that can express their emotions grow up to be healthy men, and girls that can live out their side of being outspoken as well, and saying their opinions, expressing their opinions, and having a say and being heard. Girls that can be heard will be so much better at promoting women having better positions in society. Peace, light, and love. And thank you for listening to my almost 18-minute talk.